Um, One of the advantages that we have to mention is, with life insurance policies, there's no income limit for your contributions. So what that basically does is it distinguishes it from any kind of 401k accounts, particularly the Roth 401k. In a Roth 401k, contributions are capped based upon your income level. So if you earned or exceed a certain threshold, then you may be completely ineligible to contribute to a Roth platform. And it has significant limitations for high income earners who wish to save more for retirement while taking advantages of the tax benefit as well. So, in contrast, life insurance policies, they don't impose any income restrictions on your contributions. And what that means is that you can fully fund the policy without worrying about being barred from making contributions due to their earnings. That flexibility, it allows you to shelter a large amount of money in a tax advantage vehicle. Ultimately, it enhances your financial strategy, similar to what Ron was just talking about. You have an option. There's other options out here, and the ability to contribute regardless of your income. It also makes life insurance attractive, a very attractive option for wealth accumulation and any kind of legacy planning you may be doing as well. And by funneling excess income into a permanent life insurance policy, you can build substantial cash value over time, which can be accessed tax free for various needs. This includes retirement income, educational expenses, and even emergencies. We just mentioned what's going to happen if you withdraw funds out of a 401k, but life does happen. It also provides that tax-free death benefit that basically ensures that your loved ones receive the full value of your policy upon your passing. And it provides a safety net for that legacy planning for your future generations. Having the ability to have that feature, it's particularly appealing to those who want to diversify their strategy and protect their wealth from taxation. A lot of high income earners can utilize life insurance not only as a means of saving for their own future, but also a powerful tool for passing on that wealth to beneficiaries without any constraints of any kind of traditional retirement account, especially when it comes to those contribution limits.
Yeah, I think when we're talking about this kind of this variable and this variation when it comes to income limits, we're talking about 401k. 401k has those. There's really no income limits on the 401k side, but when we're talking about various other buckets, like we've been talking about with assets, there's a lot of restrictions that are out there in terms of contribution limit. I'm sorry, income limits based on what you can contribute to a plan. So when you're talking about like a Roth IRA as an example, there are restrictions to your income. But we talked about this before in terms of just your contribution limits, let alone the income limits. So when you have these multiple constraints that are possibly there based on, okay, does income drive a portion of what you can participate in, or is there a restriction or limitation on how much you can contribute? So when we talked about a couple of things here, we talked about the contribution limits. Now we're talking about income limits. You're seeing here that there's limitations and factors that are built around most of the buckets that we're typically steered towards when we're talking about planning for retirement. So it's really just understanding and trying to figure out what is the best option, best solution for what you're trying to do in your life. Where are you at financially? What is your situation? Are you a single? Are you the sole provider for your family? Or is there a dual income household? When you're trying to go through all these different stages of financial pieces in your life, all these things need to be talked about. So when you're trying to figure out, okay, what's the best way to save? What we're talking about here as these factors and trying to compare, it's an important part of conversation that you need to try to have with yourself, or with others to try to understand what is really available to me and what's the best way for me to put myself in position that's to my advantage going forward in life, not someone else's, which we haven't really touched on is, where are we in terms of first in line with our cash, which you and I have talked about in the past. So these are all important factors, and these income limits can have a bearing on what you participate in. So having that restriction removed in a situation like we're talking about here with life insurance, and again, it's not the only piece we're talking about. We're just trying to express out there that there's options for you to add to your portfolio and really be a great foundational piece for you and your family going forward. And with that, like you talked about, Will, before, where we are with our current state of inflation and taxes and credit card debt and these types of things, you get into situations where there's needs to be some protections. So another